look at Floyd. Like, Floyd spends money like it's a tap. Like, he's got a tap, just like unlimited amount of money. Money's just flowing. And even as much money as he's made in his career, which he's probably made as much, if not more money than any boxer ever. Like, there's all these lawsuits. Like, he hasn't been paying things, and he owes money on this and owes money on that. And it's like, and then he's got to come out of retirement.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think it's just the lifestyle that Floyd lived.
Yes.
I think he can't fathom to just live a modest lifestyle. It's like he got to be lavish.
Right. He's got to have those videos where he shows you all the watches, where he opens the case up, you know.
All the money. You got to show that he got $1 million in his backpack. And, you know, he got the latest watch and the latest car, and look what I just bought.
And when you get into latest watches and latest cars, you get into that, like, boy, that money goes quick.
Yeah.
Bugattis are like $3 million. There's watches that are $3-5 million. That's crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10.
When the topic of Floyd Mayweather's real estate empire came up, Joe Rogan didn't hold back. He openly shared his doubts, going straight into the numbers and suggesting that something about them simply didn't add up.
One of the reasons why people watch him fight is not because he's like Mike Tyson, just goes out and destroys people. They like watching him fight because they hate him. Because he talks so much shit, and he's like, look at my $1 million watch, look at my fucking jet, look at my house, look at this. He's like constantly showing you all these things that he has. Like, he'll lay out watches in a hotel bed, like, this is $1 million worth of watches. This watch goes for $2 million. And they're like, this is my small watch that I take sometimes, but when I'll show you, when I'll show up, I bring out the big boy, and it brings out this watch that's covered in diamonds. It's like $5 million. And so you hate him.
And that Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment, his private jet fuel. He's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets, and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million loan from an individual, from a billionaire that had a 9% interest on the...
Joe Rogan didn't stop there. He challenged the bigger narrative around Floyd Mayweather, especially the claims that he owns dozens of multi-million-dollar properties. Rogan pointed out the difference between flashy displays of wealth and having real, verifiable proof of ownership.
IRS, how much does he owe?
It's in the $20+ million range.
It's a lot of money, man.
But it's not something that he's been, it's not like deception.
No.
It's just neglect to
it's
pay.
Neglect. And it's also like, I think, and there is like a truth to this. He makes so much money that there's probably a point when they're like, hey, it's time to pay your taxes. And you go like, all right, here's a check for $25 million. That's an incredible amount of money. And then they go, that's true, but you owe 50 more. And he's just like, that can't be right. I've given you $25 million.
Yeah, he's bought over 100 luxury cars from the same dealer and always pays in cash.
He has $15 million worth of cars.
This is where the story takes a twist. Floyd Mayweather built his Money Mayweather persona around the image of endless wealth stacks of cash, designer watches, and a lifestyle filled with extravagance. To the public, his fortune seems limitless. Yet behind the glamour, industry insiders suggest the reality of his finances may be far more complicated than the dazzling image he presents.
Because he's the best in the history of pay-per-view at making sure that the money ends up in his pocket. He is or has been a businessman as an athlete that almost doesn't have a peer because he owns all his own stuff as an independent. Your spending has to be so fiscally irresponsible to lose the amount of money that Floyd Mayweather has lost that it is almost beyond anything that is reason. It's not merely fiscal insanity. It's something that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And another sign of him maybe in financial trouble is, as of February 2026, Floyd Mayweather has initiated a massive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Networks and former executive Steven Espinoza. So he's trying to get some bread right now.
The estimate is that he made over $1.2 billion over the course of his career.
According to Business Insider, 2 of Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s commercial properties have reportedly faced foreclosure problems. There are also rumors that a building connected to his Las Vegas strip club could be at risk of seizure over unpaid property taxes. Adding more fuel to the fire, legal disputes have emerged over alleged unpaid bills for luxury watches and high-end jewelry claims that Floyd has strongly denied. When it is all put together, the focus shifts from flashy displays of wealth to serious questions about the true state of his finances.
They said in this article were insane, that Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment. His private jet fuel, he's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million.
Business reports also noted that 2 Trump International Hotel Las Vegas condos linked to Floyd were briefly seized over unpaid taxes before being returned once the debts were settled. On top of that, there are claims of a $54 million loan allegedly backed by his homes, private jet, and business ventures. Whether these reports are exaggerated or misunderstood, the gap between Floyd's extravagant money image and the financial headlines has sparked endless debate. Joe Rogan's earlier skepticism had already shaken public trust in the narrative, and then Chael Sonnen stepped in, cutting through the drama, pointing at the "is Floyd broke" talk, and bluntly asking, why is anyone acting surprised by this?
And why are we attempting to tease Floyd? Is Floyd? Yes, he's broke. Of course he's broke. He's a boxer. Did they say can't read? That's not to tease him. They say that he can't read. His best friend at the time said that he can't read, and he never denied it. I don't tease him for it. He was a guy who grew up in a boxing gym, right? It's one of these things. You know what you know. You know what you were taught. I didn't teach him about contracts. I didn't teach him about saving. I didn't teach him about investments. Who would have taught him?
He immediately turns the question back on viewers, asking, if you get up and work every week because you need money, why should it be any different for a boxer? Hearing Chael Sonnen say it is pure equal parts prawn-fitation. But he doesn't stop there. He dives into the myth of massive boxing paydays, revealing that the billion-dollar earnings and huge pay-per-view numbers often come from press releases, not verified financial statements. By pointing out that no one from the companies handling the pay-per-views has confirmed those staggering figures, he essentially drops a grenade into years of boxing hype and inflated narratives.
He's got baby mamas all over the... What do you mean is he broke? Of course he's broke. What boxer do you know that isn't broke? What a ridiculous question. But it's the fact that they're attempting to tease him. I mean, first off, they're asking the question. Look, I've told you until I'm blue in the face. The numbers that you hear in boxing simply aren't true. Floyd made $1 billion. No, he didn't. Floyd and Conor made $500 million. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. Nobody's ever confirmed that. And it's the same thing with the check. I got $100 million for a fight. Oh, you did? Who signed the check? Whoever signed the check is going to want credit for it. There's never been a time that $1 million check was written and the dude that wrote the check didn't make sure that somebody found out he wrote the check. So who wrote the check? Floyd's got a whole bunch of them, apparently. He got $1 billion. Who wrote?
Chael Sonnen isn't just targeting Floyd Mayweather. He's calling out the entire circus of how sports finances get hyped and manipulated. He then turns to the madness of contract juggling, noting that Floyd announcing multiple fights alongside the rumored Tyson matchup would send any promoter into complete panic. In boxing, timing and exclusivity aren't just important, they're the lifeblood of the business. And the irony is clear, Floyd has publicly criticized Showtime for shady business moves, yet he is now creating the same kind of chaos he once condemned.
I'm only sharing with you, like, the numbers aren't what you think they are, right? The numbers are good, and they made a lot of money, but it's not what you think it is. And, yeah, of course Floyd's broke. Would you be boxing if you weren't? And it's very tough to be...
Meanwhile, as critics call out Floyd Mayweather's promotion for creating similar chaos with Logan Paul, the narrative begins to feel like a hall of mirrors, everyone pointing fingers at someone else. But here's the ironic twist. Chael Sonnen exposes without even trying. You can question Floyd's finances, doubt the massive paydays, debate contract disputes, or mock exhibition bouts. Yet the moment Floyd Mayweather's name appears on a fight poster, the entire combat sports world stops, watches, and gives him the spotlight proof that no controversy can ever fade his allure.
No, he doesn't. Just to clear that up, no, he doesn't. Will Logan ever get the money? I think Floyd's broke. Floyd does not owe Logan $1.3 million. Floyd's promotion owes Logan $1.3 million. And no, of course he's not going to get it. That promotion's already shut down. Allegedly.
Chael Sonnen had already sparked the "Is Floyd broke?" debate. But then Jason Whitlock and his panel stepped in, and suddenly the discussion turned into full-blown financial detective work. Whitlock begins by unpacking Shannon Sharpe and the panel's theory. Floyd's return from retirement is driven by the pursuit of one massive payday. When names like Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, and Terence Crawford are mentioned, the business angle becomes clear. These are the only fights capable of generating the kind of mega money Floyd is targeting, essentially an elite list of super fights. Whitlock then adds a Rocky reference, asking, "Why do you fight?" And just like that, the conversation shifts from pure money to philosophy in an entertaining way.
Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco suggested on their podcast that Floyd Mayweather is talking about coming back, unretiring.
He is.
Because he's broke.
Yeah.
Let's play the clip here of Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco.
There are only 3 fights that Floyd can.
Floyd Mayweather built his entire identity around the mantra that money equals success, evolving from the pretty boy to the iconic money persona. Jason Whitlock highlights the brutal irony. When your brand is defined by wealth, even the smallest financial question becomes headline news. Then Dre offers a more grounded perspective, noting, "The real question isn't what Floyd made, it's what we don't know about his liquidity, assets, debts, taxes, and lifestyle." Essentially, the hidden financial iceberg beneath all those flashy Instagram posts. Meanwhile, the panel adds jokes about busted gamblers, IRS issues, and over-the-top spending, the usual circus. Here's the kicker. While half the panel debates the wisdom of a fighter nearing 50 stepping back into the ring, the other half quietly acknowledges what every fight fan already knows if Floyd Mayweather actually announces a showdown with Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, or Manny Pacquiao. No argument or speculation will stop the world from tuning in when that bell rings.
$1 and he's 47 years old and he's completely broke. He's won the prize. This is, of all the idiots that we've seen out there, celebrities, actors, entertainers that have lost a lot of money, this guy would take the cake. To blow a bill before he even hits 50 is unimaginable. It actually is sad. It's a cautionary tale. We have seen it time and time again. But who actually wants to watch this guy fight? Like, people that love him. If he comes out and what if he loses and looks terrible and gets destroyed? Well, look, if you love him or hate him, you can say, well, he's nearly 50 years old. This doesn't.
Jason Whitlock and his panel had already turned Floyd's comeback saga into a full-blown financial courtroom drama. Then Andre Ward steps in, and suddenly the conversation shifts from hot take speculation to a genuine fighter-level perspective. That contrast hits in a way that sticks. Ward begins by emphasizing the respect he's always had for Floyd Mayweather's work ethic, and it's hard not to acknowledge it, something often overshadowed by the flashy headlines. He points out that the glamour of the cars, private jets, and high-rolling lifestyle was part of the Mayweather brand, but underneath it all was a relentless gym rat who never missed a day of training. When Ward admits he feels conflicted about the comeback, the honesty stands out. He isn't attacking Floyd like the rumor mill. He's pointing to something deeper. Boxing isn't just a sport, it's an identity. The adrenaline, the spotlight, the massive fight night paydays, it's a high that ordinary life can't replicate.
Part of that is because of the way Floyd Mayweather goes about his business. He's been filthy rich. He's made his name, his legacy, and a lot of his reputation wasn't just the boxing, it was the money. It's the money man. What I have, what I'm driving, what I'm living in, what I'm flying in. And a lot of people, they don't like that. I don't know if Floyd Mayweather had more supporters for most of his fights or more haters. But regardless of where you fall on that line, Floyd Mayweather made it work for him when many people, promoters included, networks included, early on didn't think.
That's the kind of insight only a former champion can deliver. Then Ward shifts to the idea of a Pacquiao rematch, and suddenly the analyst's perspective comes into focus again. he makes a compelling observation. Older fighters can actually produce more action because they can't rely on constant movement like they used to. Less footwork often means more exchanges, which immediately challenges the idea that such a fight would be dull. Yet Ward keeps circling back to the real danger age itself. The mind still believes it's operating at the same level, while the body quietly disagrees. That single truth explains countless heartbreaks in boxing. Still, even as Ward admits he'd prefer to see both legends retired somewhere peaceful, he can't ignore the pull of curiosity. When two icons with unfinished business step back into the ring, the fight world pauses and watches whether it should or not.
Watch him, but he'll watch any potential opponent over and over and over, and he has to process, can he do anything with me? How does my skill set line up with his? Can I beat him? The problem with being 49 years of age is sometimes your brain can see things and tell you things that your body's not in agreement with. That's the problem with age. Your brain is still saying, I'm him. Your brain is still saying, man, I'm Money Mayweather. Man, these youngsters can't deal with me. But your body is saying, brother, we can't do it like that.
Now it's your turn. What do you think? Is Floyd Mayweather stepping back into the ring for the money, for the pure love of boxing, or to finally settle unfinished business with Manny Pacquiao? Share your thoughts in the comments so we can start a real conversation. And make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Ring Zone TV. We'll see you in the next video.